get into a little bit of politics today on Jimmy at the Crossroads. And let's start by playing that clip. The clip that everybody's been talking about in a radio show on Friday with Charlemagne the God. Joe Biden made a blunder. I don't know if this is the blunder of all blunders from Biden because he's had a heck of a lot of them, but he's pretty close. Take a listen to what he said.
I want to ask you about your running mate. I don't know if you saw, well, I saw today that a news report broke that Amy Klobuchar was being vetted, and a lot of people on social media, they're not too happy about that. And it's because they want your running mate to be a black woman. I don't know if you saw the op-ed in the Washington Post by some of the leading black women voices in this country. And they feel since black women are such a loyal voting bloc and black people saved your political life in the primaries this year, they have things they want from you. And one of them is a black woman running mate. What do you say to them?
What I say to them is that I'm not acknowledging anybody who is being considered, but I guarantee you there are multiple black women being considered. Multiple.
You know,
Thanks so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record.
Stunning words from the Black Voices for Trump coalition. We've got Pastor Darrell Scott to provide some reaction to Joe Biden's, I don't know if this was the ultimate blunder of Biden because he said so many, but welcome, Pastor Darrell Scott, to the show.
God bless you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. It's good to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
You know, I've been kind of confused all weekend, and I really don't know what to do because I got my census form in the mail, and I have to fill it out. But since I didn't vote for Biden, I don't know what ethnic group to put down because apparently I'm not black.
You know, I'm not sure how to solve that one.
I don't know. They don't have. I don't know. They don't have a. I don't know what I am. I'm not black. I didn't vote for Biden. I don't know what to do.
Nathan, find a solution. Go on to Google. Maybe Vice President Biden's website will tell us the answer. Isn't that just? It's absolutely the old white guy telling somebody if they're black or not.
First of all, didn't the Democratic Party say that the old white guy was an existential threat to America? And now they have the old white guy. And, you know, he was in drunk uncle mode. You know, they affectionately call him in the black community Uncle Joe. So he was drunk Uncle Joe this past week. He was in drunk uncle mode. Now on yesterday, he was sober Uncle Joe that realizes I made a mistake at the party and I got to clean it up. And so he got with his team and they tried to issue some statement that to clean up his mess. But you know what it is? He relaxed. He let his guard down. And he made it plain the mindset of the entire Democratic Party that we expect the black community to automatically vote Democrat. And if you don't automatically vote Democrat, something must be wrong with your blackness or you're not really black.
Yeah, it's stunning, that attitude. Like, there's such a level of hubris to that statement. And the thing, too, is entirely unforced. Not that it could be forced anyway, but there was no reason or basis for him to mention that.
He felt very comfortable. If you notice, he was in Democratic politician pander mode. And so his interaction with Charlemagne was, I guess, on what he perceived to be a stereotypical black level, because I noticed he called him man a lot, where, you know, when you go on other programs, when he's on other networks, he doesn't call the broadcaster man. But with Charlemagne, yeah, man, because he...
Pastor Darrell Scott cutting in and out just a little bit. here on Jimmy at the Crossroads. Again, he is from the Black Voices for Trump.
And the Bible
Coalition.
says you're not really black.
Pastor, you just cut out for about 20 seconds there for some reason. I'm not sure what was going on.
Okay, what I was saying was, Joe, the Bible says out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And so Joe spoke out of the abundance of his heart before his mind had a chance to catch what he was saying. And he expressed the mindset of the Democratic Party that if you are black or you're a member of the black community should monolithically, overwhelmingly support the Democratic Party. And he's saying that if you do not do that, apparently something is wrong with your blackness or you're just not really black. And that's the mindset that the Democratic Party has. And it's a mindset that basically I can understand them having, because no matter how bad or how much they haven't done anything for the black community overwhelmingly supports the Democratic Party anyway. The black community will put the Democratic Party over principles. They will put the Democratic Party over their religion. They'll put that Democratic Party, their adherence to the Democratic Party, they will stick with the Democratic Party come hell or high water. A large segment of the black community will do that.
Yeah, we'll get to the idea that you were just pointing out about Democratic policies and how they have hurt the black community. But I want to play cut 8 here, which is Joe Biden giving one of those non-apology apologies to about this whole question of what he said.
The last thing I want to do, and I shouldn't have been such a wise guy. I shouldn't have been so cavalier in responding to what I thought was, anyway, it was, I don't take it for granted at all. And no one should have to vote for any party based on their race, their religion, their background.
I didn't hear I'm sorry or I apologize for my statement. It was I shouldn't have been so cavalier, Pastor Darrell Scott.
Joe did the, I was just playing excuse. I didn't mean it. I was just playing. But then, he cut himself off. He said, I shouldn't have been so cavalier to what I thought was. Then he said, well, anyway. And I wanted to hear what his thought was. He thought that his answer was okay, but I guess other people didn't think it was okay.
Yeah.
And so he gave a non-apology.
Yeah. Well, that's the way that it is when you have a gaffe that was completely unforced and ridiculous. There really isn't a response beyond that.
I think he really revealed, when he gets going and he gets adamant and he starts popping off, a lot of different things come out. And this was one of the things that came out because, I remember during the 2016 campaign, they talked about a presidential response. And they said that a president should be measured in their response. But if you notice, when Joe gets going, he's not very measured in his responses. Anything is liable to come out, but what comes out is usually his genuine feelings, his authentic feelings, his true feelings about whatever the subject matter is. And his true feelings were, listen, if you're black, you're supposed to vote for me. What's wrong with that? And then when he talked about looking at his record for black people, we don't want to bring that up because Joe Biden vehemently opposed desegregation in the 70s. Joe Biden stated he stated not too long ago that we need more liberal George Wallace's today. He was a supporter of Strom Thurmond. He was the architect of that 1994 Clinton crime bill that Joe Biden actually said it was hijacked from him, that it should have been called the Biden crime bill. There's video of him on the floor of the Senate advocating for that bill and calling blacks predators and just talking about the black community in very disparaging tones. Joe Biden made no secret of his regard for the black community at large until he decided to run for president. Now he's in cleanup mode.
Yeah, well, you know that President Trump had signed into law last year the First Step Act, which undid a heck of a lot of things in that Biden crime bill from 1993, 1994. And something else worth bringing up as well is that Biden has been very supportive of the expansive welfare state. A couple of weeks ago, we had Dr. Walter E. Williams on to talk about poverty in America today. And he's, of course, done a lot of research on race and economics and the role of government welfare programs in keeping minority communities in poverty. And that's something that Joe Biden has been very supportive of, while President Trump, during his administration, has been working with folks to try and provide additional reforms to the welfare system to promote more work and drive for opportunity for people to improve their situation as opposed to remaining in poverty?
Absolutely. You know, welfare was never intended to be generational. Welfare was never intended to be permanent. Welfare was always intended to be a temporary solution to a temporary problem. If you found yourself in dire straits and needed some temporary assistance, that's what welfare was. But in the Black community, welfare has become generational. When I'm saying generational, I'm talking about right now, you're talking about 4th and 5th generation welfare recipients. And so that's something that was never intended to be the purpose of that. But what it does, it keeps the Black community dependent upon government. And it's a mindset that can infiltrate the entire community to make us think that our community cannot do without welfare. And so we'll have a cause for alarm. And they'll tell us, I can remember back in the 80s, those in the Black community saying, do not vote for Ronald Reagan because Ronald Reagan is going to cut welfare. And it caused a panic and an alarm in the Black community. And they're doing that now. Trump is trying to cut food stamps. Trump is trying to cut welfare. Well, Trump has generated historic levels of unemployment. There's no need for welfare for able-bodied people that can find a job. What would you rather have, a job or welfare? And that's the mindset that this administration is trying to promote. Self-empowerment, gainful employment. And it gives you a measure of respect for yourself and respect for your community that welfare deprives you of.
Pastor Darrell Scott, our guest. Just a few minutes left with you, sir, from, of course, Black Voices for Trump Coalition. This discussion and Biden's comment that you ain't black if you don't vote for me came up after he was asked about a black woman being picked as his vice president. And when he hedged on that question and didn't answer, cut 10, Charlemagne was asked about this on Joy Reid's program on MSNBC regarding the notion of Klobuchar, for example, a white woman being the vice presidential pick.
So I'll ask the question to you. What if Joe Biden says, nope, I'm picking Amy Klobuchar, she's my running mate? Then what do you do?
Well, on top of possible Russian interference and voter suppression, Dems have to worry about voter depression. And that's people staying home on election day because they just aren't enthused by the candidate. You know, you can't act like this is the most important election ever, but run a campaign from your basement and, you know, not make some real, you know, policy commitments to the black community, you know, not listen to some of the demands that the black community are making. You know, I think, you know, people are sitting around hoping that Trump loses instead of going out there and actually beating him. He has to do something that energizes his campaign, that, you know, brings some actual enthusiasm to his campaign. So those 4.4 million Obama voters who, you know, stayed home in 2016, more than a third of them black, you know, don't do that this year. You got to make them come out.
What do you make, Pastor Darrell Scott, of the push among Democrats and people like Charlemagne for a very narrow pick that is specifically saying they want a black woman specifically who will also look out for black interests through, it seems, more liberal policies and programs? But
watch this. The purpose for wanting the black woman is to use her to get to win him an election. We didn't know what the black woman bring to the table other than her black. You're talking about selecting a black woman that would be next in line to the. Not that there aren't any qualified. Abrams' name has been touted a lot. Stacey Abrams could win her local election, her statewide election. What makes everybody think she'll win a national election? You know, if you're talking about tokenism, that's the epitome of token. Get a woman so that black people will vote for you. So what that is saying is that of himself, Joe Biden is unqualified, but a black woman as a token would qualify him. That's ridiculous. That's the epitome of tokenism. And finally, Pastor Darrell Scott, what is the message when you're out and talking about why the black community should vote for President Trump? What is the message that you always work to get across? Well, message now than in 2016. In 2016, when President Trump, what do you have? What he was saying was, give me a chance. And now we don't have to say that. the last 4 years has been very proactive and very positive towards the community. Funding for HBCUs, the community zones to repair and renovate distressed community justice reform, prison reform, the urban revitalization he has. We have so many things to point back at and say, look what he's done. So it on and say, you know what, it will be more of the same and even get better. He's on the drawing board now. They haven't been. I don't want to take the liberty of announcing prematurely, but this president is once again, as I said, the most proactive president towards Black America in my life.
Pastor Darrell Scott with Black Voices for Trump Coalition. Thanks so much for joining us today. I worked you through some of the issues. Really appreciate it. God bless and best of luck.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Again, Pastor Darrell Scott joining us here on Jimmy at the Crossroads. Thanks for watching this clip of Jimmy at the Crossroads. Don't miss more engaging, intelligent talk. Subscribe today to the Jimmy at the Crossroads YouTube channel. You do not want to miss our live show. Thanks for your support.
I got Jimmy at the crossroads, making sense out of no sense. Yeah.